Hi, everybody. I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films and comment on them. You guys have been refining your jokes. There are quite a few petroleum puns and things on the YouTube comments. So congratulations. Kudos to those. They made me laugh out loud. Now I don't know what I'm going to say. Oh, yeah. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Here's a film about ears.
Listen, can you hear all those seagulls? How many can you hear? And listen to this. Do you hear the echo? How about this? How many different things do you hear with your ears? New sounds, whispers,
Let's go and play.
signals. You use your ears all day long.
Well, where have you two been all morning?
You use your ears whether you're listening to stories or just talking about a picnic. You use your ears when you're answering questions
Could you please tell us where the main road is?
and giving directions. You hear things all the time. But how often do you notice? Sometimes you can't hear. Then you notice.
I say thank you very much. Please come and see us sometime.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you hear sounds that are warnings. Your ears are useful in many ways. There's more of your ear than you can see. Most of your ear is where you can't see it, inside your head. Your ear is like a funnel collecting sound waves and directing them to the inner ear. The sound waves strike a tight sheet called the eardrum, making it move. The eardrum is attached to 3 tiny bones that move whenever the eardrum moves. These parts of the ear are so sensitive that even a whisper sets them vibrating. The vibrations are felt by many nerve cells, also in the inner ear. And these nerve cells send signals to your brain about the sounds around you. But sometimes things can go wrong. A bad knock could break the eardrum. Then could you hear? And if you blow your nose too hard, you may force germs up through a tube that leads to the middle ear. When germs get in the middle ear, they may cause infections, which interfere with your hearing. When you know how delicate your ears are, you want to take good care of them because you use your ears all day long. You use your ears to hear many different things.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Row your boat
Merrily,
gently,
merrily,
row
merrily,
your boat
merrily,
gently down the stream.
row your boat gently down the stream.
Gently down the
Merrily,
stream.
merrily, gently down the stream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Gently down the stream. Gently down the stream.
Great. Every once in a while, Encyclopedia Britannica brings it. It's short, concise, gets to the point pretty easily. Beautiful animation. Kids on a camping trip. We love it. This one is a little bit. Was made later, in the late '60s, maybe early '70s. Also Encyclopedia Britannica, but this one deals with emotions. And Encyclopedia Britannica, they would deal with emotions in some of their films, and I think in the late '70s or in the '80s, the emotions aren't as talked about as much as the 3 R's, and I think that was kind of a change in teaching, like what was being taught in schools. It was like, no, we just have to return back to the 3 R's: reading, writing, arithmetic. So this is a report card. How does Ricardo feel? Enjoy.
This is report card day, Ricardo. Don't forget to bring home a good report card. No, you have the wrong number.
When I call your name, come and get your report cards. Jose, Susan, Juanita, Ricardo. Ricardo? You did very well, Ricardo.
Ricardo, watch out! Ricardo, mira lo que has hecho. Yo todo el día estoy aquí trabajando, matándome, y mira tú lo que has hecho. Entras por esta puerta, ni te fijas lo que haces, Ricardo.
One would love to put that on television. That was intense, man. The music made it really anxious, and yeah, it was good. So I have another one in that series we might watch later this week. It's about Benji, but man, it's so great. And of course, the idea, of course, is you show this, and then you ask questions, and you have the kids kind of discuss what they saw. It's intentionally provocative. It's trying to get kids talking so they can write stories and they can draw pictures, and it's beginning to think critically about what you're seeing, and then they can talk about their own emotions and things like that. So about disappointment and such. All right, so behind me I have a scanner set up, and this film is water damaged. So you're going to see at the beginning, you're going to see a lot of where the emulsion just was wet and it just started to kind of shrink and deteriorate and stick to the back of the film that it was touching and all that. It does eventually clear up, but what will be interesting as well is you'll hear the because also the emulsion is in the soundtrack, and so it's all distorted. So here is, and also we get to see how fast Walter Cronkite types. Incredibly fast typist. All right, here is Price of Liberty. Enjoy.
Liberty is the most expensive commodity in the world today. We have it only because we are willing and able to pay the price for preserving it against communist aggression. One big symbol of our willingness is SHAPE headquarters outside Paris, France, the supreme headquarters of the Allied powers in Europe It was dedicated by General Dwight D. Eisenhower on July the 30th, 1951.
In all history, this is the first time that an Allied headquarters has been set up in peace to preserve the peace and not to wage war.
This headquarters has a motto. It sums up the purpose of the 14 nations that are committed to the fight for world freedom. Translated, it says, vigilance is the price. It's a brand new idea. In 1777, Molly Pitcher fought for freedom at the Battle of Monmouth. Her name appears in the records of the Continental Army. There because they were needed for the young man is Franklin Roosevelt, Assistant Secretary of the Navy. For these women, General Pershing presented his thanks in person. Perhaps he realized that he was taking a picture of the future. It was a different kind of a world in 1940, when Secretary Stimson drew the first draft number, and we faced a different kind of war. This was a national emergency. No nation on earth could draft enough men to win a total war. Government services, they would provide the highest quality of leadership for the thousands that were to follow. Did follow. American women from 20 to 50 guard. Pride and patriotism played a part in their decisions to enlist, but for many of them, there were deeper, more... This mother enlisted with the Coast Guard to replace her son who died winning the Congressional Medal of Honor. Another mother enlisted at the same time and in the same service as her 19-year-old son. For other women, there were other reasons. Whatever they may have been, the women were there. It was a woman's world, too. In peace would help to win war. No overnight miracle produced the women's services. It took more than a well-tailored uniform to change an American girl into an American servicewoman. It took study, perseverance, courage, and hard work. That is the activities of 300,000 servicewomen during World War II. CO came in while the guns were still hot. All over the world, wherever they were needed or wherever regulations permitted them to be sent, more and more of them came in to learn the skills which enabled them to take over more and more jobs. Can do best. As we watched them at work, sharing the cost of victory, one important idea became clear. For our women in service, worldwide recognition was added to the personal satisfaction of a tough job well done. This review by Winston Churchill was only one of the many marks of recognition for their outstanding contributions to Allied victory. From our own people came others, like this plaque presented to all the women of the Fifth Army. One of the lessons of World War II was that women were indispensable to our military establishment in war or peace. After World War II, the Department of Defense under Secretary Forrestal brought all the services under unified command. When the Air Force was created, women, a special postage stamp that President Truman first presented. American women had fought for freedom alone. Today, armed vigilance must back every truce in the war between freedom and slavery. The promise of lasting peace was still a promise for the future. Military strength is still the only practical answer to the menace of communism.
That film was beat to hell. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, that film had some problems. Generally what happens is... So you can tell a lot about what happened to this film. Because what happens in some cases is you have a film that's in a can, and it's sitting upright, and then the water kind of fills the can a little bit. So you get that water damage at the beginning, and then it gets less and less at the end. This must have been stored like this, and water must have seeped, either dripped on top of it or seeped underneath and then wicked up. So, wah, wah. Sorry about that. Let's learn about some 20th century bread making. Enjoy.
Give us this day our daily bread. The prayer of billions of people throughout the universe is the finest testimonial to the vital importance of this great food in the lives of all humanity. Bread, the staff of life, is the best of all energy foods, as well as the most economical, digestible, and nourishing. It is something which every man, woman, and child should know more about. There's romance in the story of bread, color, excitement. So come with Paul L. Hubner, scientist, explorer, and cinematographer, on a tour of 20th century bread making. We take you from the primitive methods of the Mexican peons and the Zuni Indians to the magnificent steel and chromium super plants of our own present-day America. Our story opens in the vicinity of lovely Ensenada Bay in Old Mexico, where the native art of bread making harvested its primitive methods of centuries ago. We introduce you to Rosita, the leading baker of tortillas in these parts and a mighty important person. Yes, this is her bakery. You see, blowing on the wood to make a flame lends that much desired personal touch. Our backyard bakery enjoys plenty of sunshine and fresh air, but little privacy. And when it rains, no tortillas. Rosita separates the dough into individual tortillas. Why these people like their bread so thin, I'll never know. Anyhow, here's how it's made. The intense heat of this primitive oven quickly bakes the thin dough. Presto, they're finished. A paper wrapping, and the tortillas are ready for delivery. So we leave the staff where the output is not a few dozen, but thousands of loaves daily. This flour is brought in carload lots and stored for from 2 to 3 months in your bakery to improve its quality. As you see, the flour is carefully tested in the laboratory for both quality and flavor. Various flours are often combined to lend fine texture and a pleasing taste to the bread. This machine blends and mixes the flour, then sends it through a system of conveyors to the sifters. The sacks are cleaned by suction to keep the air free of flour dust. These are sifting machines. They catch and hold any foreign matter or particles in the flour. The screens used in these sifters are so fine not even water will go through them, but the flour passes through, emerging thoroughly purified. This is just one of the many precautions employed by your baker to ensure the absolute purity of his bread. These are the flour scales. The baker sets this scale for the correct weight of flour to be used in each batch of sponge. While the flour is automatically being weighed, the baker sets his automatic water scale. Now he breaks in the yeast to the electric mixer. The water scale, by thermal control, automatically sets the temperature of the sponge, which consists of flour, yeast, and water in proper proportion. A very important part of the whole process. That's the water scale automatically shutting off. Watch it. Now the mixture of yeast and water joins the combined flour and water in the mixer. It's very interesting to watch the action of these huge, spotless steel machines as they thoroughly mix the sponge. Much better and more efficiently than Mother used to do by hand. The mixer now throws the sponge into a big trough. The dough room is the next stop. Here, the temperature and humidity are automatically regulated to make certain that every batch of sponge will rise to a uniform size. This process takes approximately 5 hours. Now our baker is taking the trough sponge to mix with his other ingredients into dough. Note the cleanliness of the operators and the quiet efficiency with which they work. Arrived in the mixing room, he places the trough on this special hoist. Sugar and salt are accurately weighed. The trough at the top of the mixer is empty. This is entirely a mechanical process. At no time in these particular steps of the bread-making industry do anyone's hands touch the sponge. Sugar and salt in proportion are added to the mixture. Our baker now adds the proper amount of shortening. That's milk, as fine in quality as you use on your own table. The automatically weighed flour is released into the mixture. A timer is set for the proper mixing time, and the monster mixer starts its revolution. This is our dough. The batch, once it is thoroughly mixed, is thrown out of the machine into a waiting. As you can see, cleanliness is emphasized in your modern bakery. The temperature dough is also important in our streamlined bread-making process. The dough is now weighed. It must be an exact amount. This is a final check before the trough is placed in the dough room. The dough is placed in this modern air-conditioned room for about 30 minutes, when it is ready to be cut into loaves. It is sent by a chute to the machine below. Here, the dough is shaped into loaves for baking. This is a divider. It cuts 160 pieces of dough per minute. This overhead proofer retains the dough for 15 minutes. The baker weighs one every so often to assure himself of their uniform weight, for there is a 2 ounce per pound loss of moisture during baking. This is the rounder in operation. Here, the loaves are molded into the shape of a ball. It is then run through a series of rollers. Just watch these strands of dough take the hurdles. Note how deftly the baker twists the 2 strands into a loaf before placing them into the baking pan. Experts at this work become so efficient they seldom miss a trick. The completely molded loaves are now placed in the air-conditioned proof room for about 1 hour. Inside this room, they will rise to the proper size for baking. When the loaf is properly raised, it is taken from the proof room to the oven, where the transformation from dough to golden brown bread takes place. Modern bakers use one of 2 types of ovens: the tunnel, sometimes referred to as the traveling oven, or the tray. In the tunnel or traveling type, a conveyor carries the bread from one end to the other, in which time it is baked. Now, in the tray oven shown here, the bread pans are placed on trays which make a cycle within the oven. The time is so regulated that the bread is baked just right by the time it returns to the starting point. This freshly baked bread, the result of many years of research and of careful everyday baking, is now sent on this endless belt to the sorting table. As in all departments involved in the bread-making process, this work is carried on with absolute cleanliness and sanitation, rigid requirements in your baker's code of rules. The operator places the still hot loaves in the cooling rack. These thousands of temptingly fresh and fragrant loaves of bread are then taken into the special cooling chamber. Here, a high vacuum brings the temperature of each loaf to a uniform 88 degrees in 4 minutes. This must be done properly, or the bread will become soggy after it is wrapped. Of physical perfection required to win. At football practice, both collegiate and professional, of which we give you this glimpse. On the track, in school exercises such as you witness here performed by these girls. In basketball games played on thousands of courts the country over. In the fast and lively game of tennis, bread helps to provide the energy needed for each sport. Bread supplies the vitality for daily exercise.
So I'm trying to thread up the software crashed, and so I'm trying to thread this up for you. The next film, and that last film was water damage as well. I'm gonna have to tell the person I got it from that we need to not have water damage stuff. Although that was the image was okay, but it seemed like it was definitely bleeding into the soundtrack. All right, so we got the next film set up. I should say, if you're digging what we're showing, or you like the concept of what we're doing, you can support us by hitting the thumbs up button, the like button, the subscribe button. Even if you've done it before, please do it again. It's a great way to kind of add up points so that other people can be recommended our stream. You can buy us coffee at ko-fi.com/avgeeks. You can also go to patreon.com/avgeeks and help support us there. Finally, if you're not digging what I'm showing today, you can go to avgeeks.com and see other things that we have online, including a 24/7 channel with previous lunch episodes and other stuff that we've digitized. So there you go. Always happy to show you stuff. Sometimes it doesn't resonate, but that's okay. So this is part of a great series, which has a great song. Let me type in the title. All right, so this is a career as a technician for you. Bum 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 bum. Enjoy.
And you have to earn your way. What you gonna do when the time comes? And you have to earn your pay. What will you do when you're finally on your own? What will you do when you're finally on your own?
Sooner or later, each of you will leave the textbook world of the classroom for the reality of living in the world of work. A world that permits you to be independent, to pay your way from the money you earn for work, performed in a variety of occupations. Time spent now planning for that world may be the best investment you ever make. This film will tell you about one career area presently open to young men and women in the world of technology. Before it is over, you should be able to answer for yourself the question, is a career as a technician for you? If you're attracted to the activities and sounds of construction projects, factories, airports, shipping terminals, and such places where men and machinery are working, if you're attracted to laboratories, laboratory apparatus, or scientific instruments, if you like science fiction or scientific exploration stories, if you see meaning in pictures of blueprints, factory production layouts, wiring diagrams, or workflow charts, if you like medicine or science, if you like to work on machinery, or if you like to figure out what is wrong with things around the house that are not working right, this film may interest you, for you may be a potential technician. A job specialty very much in demand in over 200 different fields, ranging from medicine to oceanography. From urban development to solving the food shortage, soon to face our ever-expanding population. Action-packed careers that no longer require you to have 4 years of college. Careers as technicians in almost every field that involves science and technology. Meaningful work at well above the salary of the average high school graduate. Careers that require a minimum of a year or 2 of specialized training. Okay, you say you may be interested, but what is a technician? To begin with, a technician is someone who works directly with scientists, engineers, and other professionals in every field of science and technology. Without the technician, many advances we take for granted would not be possible despite new scientific discovery. You see, it's the technician of one kind or another who helps to design, build, test, maintain, and operate the many devices and systems that help turn today's dreams into tomorrow's realities. Man would not have landed on the moon without him. The artificial heart supplying life's essential pulse beat in this operating room would not have been fabricated. And the automated equipment streamlining most industries would not exist. No matter what the field, you'll find the technician backing up the scientist and engineer as they build for the future. Today's technician is a vital member of the modern industrial or scientific working team of scientist or engineer, technician, skilled craftsman, and operator in both research and production. The technician is an extension of the engineer, his extra set of hands, an extra set of eyes, and brain to help expedite a project. The demand for young people who can take on responsibility, freeing the scientist and engineer to do other things, is increasing rapidly. So rapidly, in fact, some fields will accept young people as technicians with a minimum of specialized training. Technicians are very much in demand in most fields. In forestry, in the health services, in industrial production, in instrumentation, specialties in marine life and ocean fishing, in fire protection, in accounting, management, and data processing, in police science, in sanitation and environmental control, in aeronautical and aerospace, in oceanography, in mechanical design, in metallurgical fields, in nuclear and radiological research, in heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, in agriculture, in architecture and construction, in automotive engineering and transportation, in civil engineering, in broadcasting, television and motion pictures, in chemical processing, in electrical, electronics, and electromechanical occupations. Where will you find technicians working? Everywhere. You'll find some working in shops and laboratories of every size and description.
Some work outdoors, others at test facilities of every type. Helping transform the scientists' and engineers' plans into results. Testing a rocket's components destined for the moon. Developing new synthetic fabrics. Creating a safer automobile. Wherever the plans of the scientist or the engineer must be translated into results, you'll find technicians assisting. In some fields, technicians work in close-knit teams. In others, you'll find technicians operating on their own, unsupervised, using their special skills and knowledge to carry out an assignment. Hundreds are employed as troubleshooters, traveling to remote locations to solve a problem. As equipment becomes more and more complex, even more technical experts will be needed to diagnose and repair failures on all sorts of precision equipment. Technical education and training is required for all jobs. You can step into most jobs with 1 or 2 years training. Sometimes the job, especially beginner positions, involve routine work or skill. Advancement comes with experience, and it doesn't take long to gain experience in most fields. In some areas, a license may be required. With experience, you may become a supervisor or manager of other technicians. With further preparation, you can become a professional. The more challenging assignments are given to technicians with the most skill and best qualifications. At times, the hours a technician must work are irregular because of the requirements of the project and the results being sought after. The work, exacting, requiring a technician to stay abreast of current developments in allied fields as well as their own. Technical reports must be written and absorbed in many specialties. Most employers encourage promising technicians to continue studying, often paying part or all of the cost at universities in the area. Skilled technicians may earn as much as many 4-year college graduates. Good technicians with the proper experience can almost pick the area of the country they wish to work and live in, provided their specialty is needed there. If you have a particular area in mind to settle down in, check on the major industries located in that area and pick a technical specialty in demand in that region. Most technicians are able to enjoy a comfortable way of life and follow a variety of interests in their free time. If you think you might be interested in becoming a technician, take this quiz. Simply answer yes or no to each question. Do you like to be active? And are you someone who needs action in his work? Are you curious about the things and activities around you? Do you like to use instruments and to work with materials, equipment, or apparatus? Do you like responsibility? Do you like exacting work? Can you work on your own? Do you work hard to try to find out how things work or what causes something to happen just to satisfy your curiosity? Do you enjoy working on lab projects? Our quiz is over. Now, if you hope to make a go of it as a technician, you should have answered yes to most of the questions. If you answered no to most of them, think twice. Discuss your interest with your counselor or teacher. Get more detailed information. Since English, science, and mathematics are important in your work, you should have average or better grades in these subjects or plan to get them. The same is true if you take industrial arts or any vocational course. Now, how can you get the necessary technical training? Well, there are 4 ways. The first, while in school through specialized courses and vocational programs. The second way is in attending one of a variety of technical institutes. Schools in this category give intensive courses concentrating almost entirely on what you will need to know in a chosen technical field. Most institute programs run 1 or 2 years for high school graduates. The third way is through programs at a junior or community college. Most programs last 2 years a few longer. The fourth way is through area vocational technical schools, where you can complete your preparation as a technician while you earn your high school diploma at your regular high school. The subjects taught at area schools are geared to the work available in the area where the school is located. Area schools have 1-year as well as 2-year programs. They also offer some courses on the high school level and some adult education courses. Admission requirements are liberal. Other ways include thorough training and experience in the armed forces, correspondence schools, and on-the-job training. Scholarship programs for technical students are sponsored by private industry, state governments, and the federal government. Your high school counselor can tell you about scholarships and student loan programs in your area. Most technical schools can arrange part-time work for you in your field of specialization. Remember, at present, there just aren't enough people trained to fill the technical positions available. This demand will increase with time. Thousands of more jobs will open up in the next few years for young people like yourself, in government, industry, science, and medicine, on every conceivable project. If this isn't the career you'd like to follow, you're still ahead. You've at least narrowed down the number of careers you have to choose from, and can now go on to explore some of the other occupations available in the world of work. You, like thousands of others, can do interesting work, rewarding work, responsible work, to put the time spent working to constructively build a better world to live in.
What you gonna do when the time comes and you have to earn your way? What you gonna do when the time comes and you have to earn your pay? What will you do when you're finally on your own? What will you do when you're finally on your own? What will you do when you're finally on your own?
What will you really do?
What will you do when you're finally on your own?
That's weird. Why isn't it switching over? All right, there we go. Anyways, yeah, so that's part of a series, and what's interesting is that they're both made by. So this film in this series is made by Counselor Films, and we showed World of Work, and that was a candidate for the toe tapping tournament this year. So and that's also made by Counselor Films. So they have two different series with two different songs. And what I've discovered is Counselor Films also did the Fun and Dumb series, Fun or Dumb series with about graffiti and violence or vandalism, and those have songs too. So this company was really into having theme songs specific to their films, and so more power to them, because that was great. And so we did actually have that as a candidate, the What Will You Do song as a candidate last year for the toe tapping tournament, and of course it got beat out by, I can't remember how it got beat out, but some people weren't into it. I'm of course very much into it. We're going to cut the show a little bit short today because I have to go do a bunch of work. Speaking of work, being a technician, working with machines, etc., I have to go run errands and ship stuff out and all that stuff. So thank you again for tuning in today. If you like what you saw, of course, buy us coffee at ko-fi.com/avgeeks. Also patreon.com/avgeeks. You can watch more, so much more, at avgeeks.com. There's a 24/7 channel there, and there's also individual films and shows up there. And finally, just smash the like button, whatever that entails, or whatever way that you can say, I like what this person is doing, or I like what this show is all about. So click on that. You can also subscribe, and of course, just tell other people about what we're doing. You guys are hilarious to show films to, and all the wisecracking going on. If this was an actual classroom, all of you would be in trouble. But it's not. So have at it in the comments. Thanks again, and we will see you soon. As always, please rewind. Love each other. Love yourself. It's summer, but some people are struggling because they're just struggling. So reach out. Check in how people are doing. And we will see you tomorrow. Everybody take care.